Before we begin, 3 messages. What mobile platform do companies like eBay, NBC Universal, the Los Angeles Times, Razorfish, and PayPal use to build their cross-platform native applications? Titanium by Appcelerator. They aren't alone. There are now over 25,000 apps deployed by Appcelerator, which has been called the Rosetta Stone of app development. And you can start now for free. Just go to www.appcelerator.com for more information. So, you've taken some of the advice that has come from Untethered.tv guests, built an app, and now you're turning your attention to generating some hard-earned revenue. Then you should be looking at Pontiflex App Leads. Some of your peers who are using app leads are earning CPMs 100 times the industry average. And if you need any other reasons to start, I'll give you 2 more. You can run sign-up ads from top brands, the ones that you recognize, and it won't take your precious users out of your app. Go to appleads.com, that's appleads.com, to sign up. When my company needed to develop a key mobile product, one that I was counting on as a new source of revenue, I knew exactly who to turn to. Macadamian. They delivered on time with incredible attention to detail, and I was able to get product into customers' hands faster than I ever thought possible. I've personally known them for 10 years, and they do make great products even better. Check them out at www.macadamian.com. Hello everybody, welcome to Untethered.tv. This is that place you come to hear casual conversations with mobile rock stars, where we dig a little bit deeper into the behind the scenes aspects of all things in the mobile industry, and maybe, just maybe, get some ideas from the guys that we're talking with and the ideas that are being formulated here. Ideas for new product, ideas for new services, or extending your brand into the mobile space. And that's what we're focusing on today. That is where we want to be. We want to understand how you can create value with your customers in the mobile space, how you can engage deeper with your customers as a result of mobile, and how you can actually have a deeper conversation and create customer loyalty. And I don't think that there's anybody better to have this conversation with. And that's why I bring you these guys. Michael Ahearn, who is the Vice President of Strategic Marketing, and he's a co-founder of a company called iLoop Mobile. And just to give you a little bit of perspective, these guys have been around since 2005. They're based out of San Jose. And their VP of Strategy, or VP of Mobile Strategy, who was also a co-founder of iLoop, just happens to be seconded to the Mobile Marketing Association as the managing director, and that's Michael Becker. So these guys have been around mobile, they've got the credibility, and we're going to be sitting down with Michael to talk about customer loyalty. Michael, thank you for coming on Untethered.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Really great. I really appreciate you doing this. Glad that you can come and tell your story and talk about what you're doing with iLoop and dive deep into the topic of customer and consumer loyalty. Why don't you just start by giving us an overview of what iLoop is?
Yeah, happy to. Hello, everyone. iLoop Mobile, we are a solutions and services provider to brands, agencies, content publishers, enterprises, and other companies around the world. We are a worldwide solutions and services provider for mobile marketing. That includes pretty much every touch point that's out there in the market. That's SMS, MMS, mobile internet, applications, and then some of the more sophisticated things like point of sale, integration for mobile couponing, and we are also launching some new products in the very near future around incentive marketing in the social space. So we cover all the touch points with a single platform solution. So basically our sort of differentiator in terms of what we're doing as a company, and this has been our DNA from the very beginning, is that iLoop Mobile has approached mobile as a multiple touch point channel. So we don't silo the different touch points. We're not just an SMS provider, we're not just a mobile site builder, but we believe that mobile is an integrated marketing function, and as such, from day one, we thought of iLoop Mobile as a platform provider to provide a solution set where all of the mobile touchpoints are integrated into one technology, so that brands and content publishers, when they approach mobile, they're not approaching it in the silo of let's do an SMS campaign or let's create an app. We see mobile as a strategic move first, tactical second. So in offering a solution set that has all the bases covered with one technology platform and allows brands and content publishers to approach mobile holistically and really do integrated marketing and not just speak integrated marketing.
I think that's I mean, obviously a very important point. You guys have been around a long time, enough to validate this, and you don't need my validation on the fact that this is a good way of doing it. But oftentimes companies do look at, we saw this in the web space where they looked at their website as a separate piece of, of marketing material or technology, and it didn't really adhere to the corporate core strengths or strategy around sales or marketing. And we saw that at the very beginning is that there's a rush to an app or there's a rush to an SMS campaign that didn't coincide with something that was going on, another marketing campaign inside of the company, or their SMS campaign didn't support their mobile app or their mobile website. So really, that's where bringing that all together under one, one strategic initiative, and then determining what the appropriate mobile play is at that point.
Correct. And you'd be surprised how that's not common knowledge out in the brand world. They do still approach things in silos, and it's really not their fault because their organizations. There's really a sea change happening in marketing and brand management now, and that sea change is it's gone from sort of the vertical silos of I've got my TV team, I've got my print team, I've got my web team, I've got my social team now, I got my mobile team, and that's really it's an old model, and the brands and the agencies are realizing that that mobile and new media. So let's just categorize the social and mobile as the two big moving forces right now, are squashing the vertical model of how you do business. And so mobile is a great leveler, and the people that are involved with mobile. It's interesting. I was at the MMA forum in New York a month or so back, and they had a great panel that was really talking about how mobile is a connect the dots type of technology and a phenomenon. In that the mobile people actually are great flatteners of organizations, either a brand organization or an agency, in that mobile person is a hub. And they are a hub to all the different traditional media. And mobile basically is a virus that infects everything you do in terms of marketing. And so as a mobile person, you are really thinking holistically as a true integrated marketer, and you are thinking, what is the mobile interaction in the TV experience for that customer? What is the possibility for mobile interaction at a bus stop? What is the possible mobile interaction on a social page? So mobile people tend to be horizontal thinkers, and they think across the whole landscape, and that's what we're seeing with mobile. And one of my real big sort of trademark phrases every time I go into a large corporate boardroom, the first thing I'll tell everyone gathered around who are waiting with bated breath to learn how they're going to conquer this new channel, the first thing I say to them is there's no such thing as mobile marketing. And they then say, well, what are you going to do for the next hour and a half? And I say, well, let me paraphrase that. There's no such thing as mobile marketing. There's only mobile-enabled marketing. Yeah. And that's the key. Because mobile is a permission-based, or by and large, many of the channels of mobile are permission-based. And they are still relying on traditional media as a carrier of the call to action or the carrier of the participation. But what mobile does is it is basically, I think of it as like a Marshall amp. You could have, like, if anyone out there is a guitar player, you have the little tiny sort of home amps, and then you can have the Marshall stack that you put on stage. What mobile does basically is an amplifier that takes your marketing from 10 watts to 100 watts. So it takes your marketing to 11. And what that means is whatever you're doing right now in marketing, whatever you're successful in right now in marketing, that's great, continue that. But what the new opportunity is with mobile is we can now turn that marketing and exponentially improve performance. And we see that in things like couponing or incentive marketing, for example. The old, redemption rates, you were happy with like a 1% to 2% redemption rates. A properly designed mobile-enabled incentive marketing campaign, we are seeing minimum 8 to 10. If you're just basically tripping over yourself and doing it halfway right. But if you're really strategizing and getting your strategy and your tactics aligned with your traditional marketing and incentive marketing, we're seeing 30, 50, and there have been case studies of 100% redemption of coupons. And the reason is mobile is, as a channel, allows the consumer a frictionless relationship with the brand, the product, and the marketing.
It's a direct line, right? And that's the key. We're going to come to that. I want to come back to one of the things that you said. about connecting the dots and the glue around an organization, because that is new thinking, isn't it? I mean, I've sat in many companies' boardroom the same way as you have as well, and they're definitely still thinking as in, in departments, and how they can bring mobile into a department, and the way that you just described that as connect the dots, or the glue that brings an organization together. You have to have that feeling or that understanding that mobile will transform an organization if done properly. Is that, you obviously believe that?
Well, the world has changed. Let's even look at it more holistically.
Yeah.
The world has changed. We are now live in a networked world. Yes. We don't live in countries. I mean, how relevant are countries now? I'm sort of talking broadly here and sort of glibly.
Yeah.
But in a lot of respects, we are living in a networked world. Our economies are networked. Yep. Our politics are networked. Our communications are networked. So we're living in a networked world. So why would an ad agency be any exception to that? So you have to think of your agency as a network, and all of the players in that ecosystem of that organization have to think of themselves as a network and not as countries.
Right. And it's funny because we are borderless right now. Ultimately, that's the challenge that, companies, even like when it comes to just e-commerce, companies like Amazon are struggling with. I mean, with punitive tax requirements on them. I mean, tax in each state is a requirement, but the punitive nature of the fact that they have to manage all of that means that they're going to pull out of each state, and they're kind of pushing that boundaryless.
Well, Amazon succeeds, though, in the fact that they don't resist that.
Right.
They embrace that challenge. And so for organizations that are resisting the advent of the networked world and a world where all the dots are connected, as you embrace it, then that's where all your benefit and that's where all the opportunity is. Where people are falling down is that they are insisting on sticking with the dinosaurs. And if you stick with dinosaurs, you become gas, right?
Oh, absolutely. You're done. You're over.
So, yeah.
So, you alluded to it that maybe companies aren't thinking this way right now. There's got to be a few that are thinking about this. But is it kind of is it a challenge now to go into an organization and say, listen, it isn't mobile marketing. It's how did you describe it? It's not mobile marketing. It's mobile
enabled marketing.
Mobile enabled marketing.
And that's a key concept because make no mistake about it. We are evangelists for mobile. We sell mobile, right? We believe mobile. We are priests of this new sort of paradigm of the way people communicate, whether that's personal communications or commercial communications.
Yep.
It's a learning process, and so the good news to them and the way that you actually quote unquote sell mobile to people or you evangelize mobile is we're not saying that you have to completely change what you do. But you have to look at it in a new way. So you do traditional marketing, you do direct marketing. So for example, here's a great example. So I won't mention any names, but I saw a sweepstakes marketing initiative the other day, right? So I was at a gas station, right? And they had above the pump, they had the placards, they had the out-of-home placards atop the pumps, and it was a call to action to participate in a sweepstakes to win season tickets to a sports franchise, right? So I looked at that and I go, well, this is kind of cool. I like this sort of the idea of this, and that I'm sitting there at the pump, the gas pump is in my car. I've got 2 minutes of downtime here where I can actually give undivided attention to this call to action, right? And so I looked at it and I said, okay, sweepstakes, great, enter to win tickets. I'm interested, but then where did it fall down? Guess what it asked me to do?
Probably go to a website.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what they were asking me there to do is to memorize a URL, and 5 hours later be so geeked to participate that I'm going to open up my boat anchor laptop, right? I'm going to open that up. I'm going to memorize the URL. I'm going to plug it in. I'm going to have an interaction 5 or 6 hours later to do this. Okay, that's really being very optimistic. You're a very optimistic person if you think that's going to happen in any significant way. And I thought to myself, how easy would it have been to just put a call to action, the price of the ink, right? The price of the ink, in that basically to put in the call to action, text message win to a short code to participate. I'm sitting there, my hands are in my pocket. Guess what's in my pocket? My cell phone, right? Yeah. So it's basically, you're teed up, right? It's T-ball for marketing. And it's just to realize the opportunities, though, you have to think what your customers are doing, where they're doing it, and where the opportunities are to use this device that's on their person 24/7.
So have you seen some I mean, it's hard to do this, but have you seen some good examples of the way that some companies have leveraged mobile to engage with customers like that? Because it just seems so simple, right?
Well, here's simple, right? So again, and it's not simple though. The reason why it's not simple is all of those organizational challenges that I was speaking about beforehand, right? Is to how do I incorporate these concepts and this behavior and these practices into something I've been doing for 25, 30, sometimes 100 years, right?
Depending on the day.
That's right. Yeah, large agencies that have been around for 150 years, right?
Yeah.
So the question is, how do I change the behavior? So a great example would be direct marketing. Some of the opportunities for direct marketing are very simple to execute. They dovetail perfectly into what you're already doing. So let's say, for example, you're doing basic door drop, let's say envelope coupon marketing, right?
Yeah.
So let's say you're a money mailer, for example, and you're doing that, and up to now you've been dropping just paper on people's doorsteps and getting probably 0.000000001% conversion, right?
And applauding, like, and congratulating yourself.
Yeah, we're doing pretty well, right?
Yeah.
So what the opportunity is simply for a very, very, very low price point in terms of mobile activating that type of marketing by putting the simple call to action on that paper coupon. It allows the end user to then say, oh, you know what, I'd rather have this coupon on my phone so that when I'm walking around the mall on Saturday, I don't have to remember paper coupons. I can just put it on my phone. They text message the keyword of the short code, they get the coupon to their phone, and then as I'm walking around the mall, I go, oh, wait a minute, I got a Foot Locker coupon in my phone, and they make a left-hand turn into Foot Locker.
Right.
You're driving traffic, you're driving revenue. And it's a win-win because you're driving the traffic, but also for the end user, it's a win because, wow, this is really convenient. This is the way that I actually want to be interacting with the brand. It's way easier than having to remember to stuff that paper stuff into my pocket.
I mean, you're saying that I mean, it makes sense to me. It makes sense to you. It makes sense to probably a good number of North Americans that have who are engaged in the mobile industry.
And people are doing this, so this is not something new. So this has come to market, and we've seen sort of the turning point probably in the last year and a half. It's no longer new media. It's no longer test and pilot. We're now seeing this as marketers seeing this as mission critical. So
and this is being rolled out,
yeah.
But is it I mean, is it gaining the momentum that you anticipated? Are you seeing people coming back to you embracing ideas, whereas a year or 2 years ago they were shunning mobile as a fad or something that they would test? Are they coming back to you saying?
I think fad is a bad word because I don't think anyone in their right mind ever saw mobile as fad. If they did, they probably shouldn't be a CMO because to me it's if you had half a brain, you say, wait a minute, we got almost 100% penetration of this device on people's person 24/7. There's got to be a use for this to be able to communicate people brand messaging or whatever you need to do. So that I don't think anyone very quickly within the first year of mobile, when people actually understood the mechanics of mobile-based marketing practices, they saw, okay, this is no fad. This is going to be mission critical. Obviously, the question was, is it mission critical next month? Is it mission critical a year from now? Is it mission critical 5 years from now? So that was the real sort of thing. So again, the real challenge, I think, the only thing that has sort of delayed mobile, and I don't know if it was truly delayed is the right word, because like any new technology, I mean, you look at the evolution of the web. I mean, web marketing did not become ubiquitous overnight either. So you still had major companies in the year 2000 without real websites, right? So, but we're at the point now is that if I go into any brand's office or I talk to anyone, I would ask, do you have a website? And they will say yes. Then I'll ask, how important is your website to you? They'll say mission critical. And I say, well, why isn't that in someone's pocket right now? And then it's a self-answering question.
But do they look at you and say, that's why, I mean, yeah, why is that?
Well, it's the big help me right now. It's out there, the power is obvious, but there is a learning curve of saying, okay, I need to understand strategies and tactics of how to engage with my customers using this new channel. Because there are, obviously there are process components that you have to learn. You have to learn the ins and outs of how to do SMS messaging, how campaigns are built, all of the requirements by carriers. If you're building a mobile internet site, you need to know the ins and outs of how to optimize a content environment for the mobile device. So it's not, I'm not saying that it's simple. Certain parts are simple, though, to be frank, though. I mean, to mobile enable a direct marketing piece for an SMS opt-in is today pretty brain dead. So that is easy. But yes, there are, you know, it's one of those things where with time you learn how to do it, and once you learn how to do it, then you appreciate very quickly how essential it is to what you do.
I mean, is there a sector of the economy that is, is there a sector of the economy that is embracing mobile, except for the consumer side? I understand that. Like, you know, consumers, we woke up one day and there were 5 billion devices connected around the world. And, but is there a sector of the economy that is embracing mobile better than ahead of the others?
Yeah, so certain low-hanging fruit, obviously, and these were sort of the early adopters as well. The entertainment industry very quickly knew that the ability to deliver their content into this device was important because their product was digital content, right?
Yeah.
By and large, they weren't selling LPs anymore. They were stopping, or they were on the downslope of selling CDs or VHS or whatever it might be. They understood the model of their product being basically ones and zeros, right?
Right.
And those ones and zeros float through the air and they hit screens somehow, somewhere, right? Or at least that was going to be the immediate future of their product, right? So they very quickly understood that this screen that they called the third screen, I like to call it the first screen now because I actually believe it is the first screen. But the third screen, as they called it then, they understood that they had to address the third screen because the consumer was actually out ahead of the brands and the content providers. So they were doing things with their phones, with the most rudimentary phones. There were people that were trying to consume the most complicated HTML sites on a Razor.
Yeah.
So there was that volition by the user going, I want to get to this stuff, let me in the candy store. And the candy store owner didn't understand that there was a crowd of 5,000 people outside of their little shop wanting to get in and get at the candy. So it's a story of the people who actually have the product understanding how they could actually deliver. So entertainment was one. Obviously, retail was another big one. So the ability to interact with a customer either in store using this device, or to be able to deliver messaging to them outside of the store to drive them to a store. They very quickly saw the value and the effectiveness of being able to communicate with their customers through the mobile device, providing them with, and I'll use 2 criteria. So whenever I talk to someone about mobile, they ask me, how do you do a successful mobile campaign? I'll say there are 2 components to mobile that pretty much guarantee success. And if you don't do one of these 2 things, then you run the risk of it not working very well. Any campaign or any mobile campaign has to either be useful or it has to be entertaining. So if you provide utility to the customer, they will do it. They will participate. You will convert. You will redeem. You will increase revenue. If you're entertaining, so if you provide them with content that they find entertaining or a value from that perspective, then also they will convert. They will participate, and you'll get something from it. If you're just giving them data sheets on their mobile phone, then unless that data is really useful to them, they're going to look at it as just a data sheet, and then you may not be surprised that your mobile internet site that's just a product data sheet is not going to be particularly successful. So in retail, they saw very quickly that they can engage with consumers, and they were able to accomplish some of their absolutely mission-critical objectives through mobile. And mobile is not about the technology. That's one of the big things. You don't do mobile campaigns to do mobile. Mobile is really not that compelling. As much as we like to think it, and agencies like to think it, the reality is after a short period of time, scanning a 2D barcode becomes commonplace. The technology really isn't that interesting. It's what happens with that technology that's interesting. So that's why, for example, a brand like BlackBerry, the reason why they're having challenges with their devices, they are discovering it's not about the handset. Right. It's about what you do with the handset, right?
It's the ecosystem challenge.
Yeah, so it's the BlackBerry is not suffering in terms of market penetration because the iPhone is better technology, or the Android phones are better technology, or they're better phones. The reality is they're better devices because I can do more interesting things with them, and that's the difference. And so the BlackBerry has to, for example, rebrand itself as something, and they are doing that, I think, pretty vigorously. They are defining themselves and their products as things you do things with, not just, hey, check out a cool new cell phone.
Absolutely.
No one's interested in a new cell phone.
Yeah, well, yeah, you know what? That's why. I mean, so Untethered.tv is focused exclusively on that software layer because that's where the value is happening, whether it's through an interaction or through an application.
Yeah. I define that as techno-fetishism is the word that I use.
Techno-fetishism, eh?
Yeah. So don't get all don't get all hot and bothered about the technology, whether it's augmented reality or it's QR codes or whatever the new shiny object is out there in mobile. I've sort of become sort of inured to the flashy technology, because what's more interesting to me is what you can do with it. And what is the application? What is the business application of for example, an augmented reality program? Right. Don't do it just to be able to put an overlay of content. It's like, what is that content that you're actually overlaying over my view of the world? That's the thing that's interesting.
So on that topic, I mean, when we're talking about customer loyalty and engagement, I mean, what's a good process to go through if you're a company that you're sitting there? Listen, I want to get engaged with mobile. I've tried QR codes. You know, we've kind of put our foot in.
Back up a second. Back up. Don't say I've tried QR codes.
Okay.
Say I've tried customer acquisition in mobile. Okay. Let's define that. So don't define mobile by the technology. Define it by what you're doing with the channel. Okay.
So it's outcome driven, right? So
absolutely.
Where do you start? Like you start with your
start with a strategy.
Right.
So, well, so we do strategy for our customers. Yep. iLoop Mobile has a great strategy team. The way that we approach it is, before we even talk about a tactic, don't even talk to me about what you want to do. Okay, we're going to take 40 steps backwards. We're going to exit the room. We're going to exit the zip code, and we're going to go on a Polynesian island somewhere. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about, number one, who is your target audience? Okay, so you define to me as a brand who you're trying to reach, right? So you tell me that, then we'll do the research and say, okay, your target audience is doing X with this channel. Okay, so let's find the right fit. Let's understand what they're doing with this channel first. Number two, explain to me what you're trying to achieve as a marketing organization. Are you trying to do customer acquisition? Are you trying to do brand loyalty? Are you doing customer retention? Are you trying to do product awareness? Are you doing brand awareness? All the different sort of, and we've heard these terms before. This is nothing new to mobile, right? No. So define to me what you're trying to accomplish. Once we can define that as an organization for you or a brand, once we can ascertain who you're trying to talk to, what they're doing with these phones, and then what you're trying to accomplish, then I'll say, you know what, now I got a really good idea how we're going to actually accomplish those things. And by the way, here are the tactical technology channels that I think are a perfect fit, because they're doing this with their phone. We know there's penetration of these techniques, and I think it'll be super successful if you do X, Y, and Z, because the tactic fits your objective and the tactic fits your audience. So, and I might even say, you know what, there is no mobile play here.
Like, has that ever happened to you?
It hasn't happened, but what I'm saying, in being sort of a fair broker of this process, it may be, or someone may come to me and go, I got to have an app, I got to have an app, I got to have an app, got to have an app. We build apps, right? We'd be happy to build an app for you. But in doing that study and studying the needs of that customer and the needs of their consumers, I would say to them, you know what, you're coming to me for an app, I'm not going to build you an app. You can go to some other you can go to another provider to build you an app, but I think it's going to fail. By the way, though, you define to me what you want to do. Here's the other thing that you're doing besides an app. Or app will be phase 4 of your mobile strategy, because you need to do phase 1, 2, and 3 first. By the way, that's a lot cheaper and will be a lot more effective than building a $100,000 app, right? Yeah. We can have more success. We can accomplish your goals a lot better, maybe even less expensively with these different tactics.
It strikes me that is more and more what's happening out there. There was a land rush for application development, and then there's all these apps that are languishing, and brands that are suffering as a result of these languishing apps because they didn't understand what they were getting into. And
yes,
a lot of companies
follow the process, and that strategy process is absolutely, it's required if you want to do it correctly. Now, some people stumble into the right tactics sometimes because they're a brand and they're trying to do customer acquisition, and they just said, you know what, I want to start an alert service, and I'm going to be putting a call to action for an opt-in into an SMS VIP club where I'm going to reward them with valuable messaging and offers. Well, maybe by default they've sort of stumbled into exactly the right tactic to do what they're accomplishing, or they're smart enough to know, you know what, this makes sense to me. It's common sense. Let's do this.
Well, I mean, how is mobile driving this industry, this customer loyalty component of retail, of brand awareness? How is this shaping? How is mobile shaping this? Because more and more, it would seem to me that I'm making buying decisions, I'm making entertainment decisions, I'm making purchasing restaurant decisions with my third brain, or my second brain, which is the mobile, and the third brain, which is the community that's behind the mobile. Right. So how is mobile shaping customer loyalty?
Well, it's shaping it in that it gives the brand, they never had this ability before. It gives the marketer the ability to communicate with their customer anytime, anywhere.
Right.
But not communicate with them anywhere, anytime, anywhere, to give them don't squeeze the Charmin messaging, right? And to pulverize them over the head with inanities that have no relevance to the customer. What the real opportunity is now is to develop an opt-in group of people that are people that are interested in my services. So I'm getting rid of waste, right?
Right.
So I'm communicating to people that are in some way, shape, or form interested in what I'm selling, right? Or I could be converting people into being interested, but it's not don't squeeze the Charmin. Run the ad 400 billion times on national TV and hope there's some sort of behavior change because of the onslaught of a sledgehammer, right?
Right.
So what we're talking about here is surgical marketing that is talking to the right person, providing the right message at the right time. So the opportunity for the brand is, I've got this device in my pocket that's very personal, that I'm staring at 24/7, okay? The opportunity now is, if I could provide some sort of value to the customer through this device, either a benefit of incentive marketing by offering a discount or providing information about the product that I couldn't easily obtain anywhere else. We know, for example, 70% of shoppers today are using their cell phones in store.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are a brand and you sell products in a brick and mortar environment and you are not offering engagement in the mobile device, you're missing the train, the boat, the airplane, and the planet. It's basically, they're there, they're asking for it. They're asking you to provide the information through this device, which is the most convenient way for them to actually receive what they're looking for. And it's on demand. So they want to have it where I could Google your brand name, or I can Google that product, and you better have an environment to provide me the interaction and the information or the engagement or the incentives that I'm looking for that will actually convert my behavior change. So it's like, you know what, I really do want to buy that product. Or yeah, you know what, that product has all of the features I'm looking for. Great, I'm going to buy it. They could have only arrived at that conclusion with the aid of the brand providing that information in an easy-to-access channel like mobile. Now, obviously, people still surf the net on their laptops and do this, but a much more, again, frictionless, just-in-time marketing model is, you get me the right information, the right time, when I need it, and I will reward you with behavior being that, oh, great, you know what, you've answered my question, thanks. I'm going to buy your product over another product because that other product is not giving me that service. So sometimes it boils down just to customer service, right? So again, another big marketing objective is, how can it provide better customer service to my customers? If we're just talking about the retail space, how can I interact with my customers and provide a convenience or service that's better than my competition? Well, mobile is a great opportunity to outdo your competition with, okay, I always shop at this store because they've got this mobile stuff that makes it really easy for me to do my stuff, right?
So talk about retail establishments. Like, one of the biggest things, it always comes up, is a retail establishment like a bookstore. Like Borders just went out, went bankrupt, and we've got a Canadian version of that up here in Chapters and Indigo Books, and it's a struggle. It's got to be a struggle. And Best Buy and any consumer electronics retail establishment, people walk in there after all of these, advertisements and flyers are put in newspapers to drive foot traffic to these stores. People walk into these stores with their mobile devices, touch, feel, lift, play with.
You know what they're doing? This is not new, though, right? So what is the common behavior? And everybody is guilty of this. I do the same thing, and I always feel sorry for retailers, but this is a challenge to the retail industry as a whole if you're doing brick and mortar, right?
I don't feel sorry for the retailers, right?
Well, I feel sorry in that. Well, here's why I feel sorry. And I kind of feel the pain because we have customers that are in this position, so I can feel their pain. So, and I do it. I'm guilty of the same behavior, which is I will go into stores. I'll do the touch and feel, right? And they have spent millions of dollars setting up this beautiful showroom for me to touch and feel their product. And
lights
then I
are perfect.
I go on the internet, and then I go and find the cheapest price and have it mailed directly to my office, right? Yep. So the challenge for the retailer is to provide that kind of service of the internet and make it an in-store experience, right? So if you could imagine, wouldn't it be cool if there were high-definition screens all over a retail space, all with touchscreen access to the internet, right? So that I would have the world's information right there at my fingertips. I could do price comparison if I wanted to. And if I was competing as a retailer, I could say, you know what? I can't find this product any cheaper anywhere else on the internet, or maybe it's a little cheaper here, but some way, shape, or form, this person in store has provided me with greater value than executing the purchase via internet. So I don't believe the retail environment goes away. In fact, I have a lot of, and again, this is just my own bent or my own complaint is that there are so many products that you would like to actually touch and feel that they say internet sales only. It happens to be, let's say, a great example. I've got a new baby and we're looking for a new rocking chair, right? So many of the retail establishments are not carried in the store, right?
Right.
So how can I make an educated, how can I make an educated purchase without actually sitting in the chair? So retail is not going away, but what retail can do is offer incentives. So drive people to stores because I'm offering you 20% off via this easy to opt into mobile campaign, so that I'm standing at the bus stop, they've got an ad on a bus stop, and they say, here, get 20% off all purchases this weekend. I go, you know what, that's going to make me go to the store instead of buy it online, is that I know right now it's a 20% discount, I can touch and feel, I'm going to get a good price, and this mobile enablement has given me that extra incentive. And this is just one tactic, but it's giving me an extra incentive to actually go to the store rather than be purchasing online.
Driving people to a store is one of the critical points here. Is that whatever you're going to do in the outside of mobile advertising and marketing, you have to be able to complement that, and mobile allows you to measure that very effectively. What about these? We talked a little bit before about you've got Slingshop, your mobile social.
Yeah, so we have, so again, we'll just as sort of a sidelight as a kind of an interesting. So we're all familiar with the social incentive marketing,
like Groupon and
the Groupons and the Living Socials and all these. So this is a big, it's big news now. What kind of legs it has is to be seen, right? But we know that it is big news and that it's has a certain amount of market penetration. So the idea of basically social-based savings, right? Which is it's a valid concept, right?
It is.
If I can get enough people together, as a political aside, I wish the American healthcare system could go to the same way of social-based savings. But be that as it may, the ability for people to group together in common interests to get a better product offering, either by price or the product itself, whatever it might be. It's great. We're offering the same kind of model in our offering, which is Slingshop, which is to offer social incentive marketing, but rather than having a third-party company taking large percentages of margin out of my sale, is our sort of play is to offer each individual retailer basically their own technology service. So they get their own quote-unquote Groupon, and they get to do the same techniques and use the technology and the tactics in the same way, but you're just not going to get 50% of your margin
taken away from you.
Taken away from you. So we'll give you the tool to do exactly what Groupon does, and you own it, basically.
And I mean, so when you combine that, you talk about location, we talk about this mobile social component here, like the Groupon, white label Groupon. I mean, the whole goal is to drive people to your store, right? A lot of companies did that
one of the goals, yeah, for a brick and mortar store.
For a brick and mortar store.
Yeah. Now that same redemption, and remember, mobile can drive people to a website. So if your goal is to sell on a website, you can do incentive marketing that's mobile enabled, but it's going to drive people to a mobile internet site, which is very powerful as well, right? So instead of driving them to a quote unquote PC website, you'll be able to interact with them in the internet through a mobile call to action, and they can be doing things like, for example, brain dead mobile commerce, right? Buy the product. I've made you aware of the product. Now execute a purchase, and you don't have to wait 5 hours and get in your car to do that, or wait 25 minutes to go home and open up your laptop. You can execute now that I've got you at the point of quote unquote engagement or excitement, right? Why am I waiting half an hour or 5 hours or 3 days to kiss the girl, right?
Yeah. Don't let me think about it. Just let me buy it.
Yeah, you've convinced me. Now you've sold me, right? Now let me do it. Yeah. So that's the challenge to the brands, and that's the opportunity to brands and mobiles is, okay, you got a yes, you've closed the deal, now you have to actually invoice the customer, right? And the more that they wait, the more they're going to go, oh, wait a minute, I think, second thought, or let me check out another price or another, whatever. If you got them at yes, then you got it. It's Baldwin, right? It's Glengarry Glen Ross. Always be closing, right? Once you got yes, you close the deal and sign on the line that is dotted, right? So that's what mobile gives you, is the opportunity of instant access to transaction with the customer.
It's so important that people understand that, isn't it? That listen, it's one thing to create awareness, but I think now like you're saying at the gas pump, every opportunity to move them along or engage with them or get them to sign up for something or be a part of something, whatever your goal is as a company, you just have to be able to look at that with a mobile colored glasses, we'll say,
right.
When you're doing this. So, I remember when those screens went onto the pumps in the gas station, and it said like we got a compelling, we basically got a captive audience for 2 minutes as you're pumping the gas, and it's like, buy this and do this, and then I just leave, and it would have nothing. I mean, there was never any resolution, right?
Right. So you sort of left them hanging, and it's like a really good salesperson that actually didn't ask for the contract, right?
Right.
And
so but have you seen a good example of companies that have started to embrace that kind of?
Yeah. So M-commerce, Steve Madden Shoes has been a great brand in helping the mobile industry and all industries by publishing the actual metrics of their success metrics in their M-commerce sales.
Yeah.
And they are succeeding in mobile sales. So they have now, granted, they have a really good fit. This is a product that's ideal for exploration and sales. So a pair of shoes, perfect price point, right?
Yeah.
It is. Anything
Some
under
of them,
$200.
Jimmy Choos are not. I'm not going to spend $600 or $700.
If I could spend $4,000 on a pair of loafers, I might actually go into have like the pretty sales girl put on my feet because
exactly. I'd like a cup of coffee with that, or a
cup
latte.
of coffee, exactly, and a glass of champagne.
Something.
But you'd be surprised though. There's all these anecdotal stories of people buying a Ferrari on eBay from their mobile phone, right? So, so luxury items are not exempt, but as a good example, a perfect sweet spot for the customer today for a perfect match for a brand is that under $200 price point is perfect. So that's why, for example, apparel retail is perfect for mobile marketing and it's perfect for m-commerce as well, because I will very happily buy my baby a Rolling Stones t-shirt on a mobile device, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there are obvious no-brainer fits right now, and this will bubble up to more luxury products eventually. But case in point, someone like Steve Madden, they have a great m-commerce site. It's social enabled as well, so there's integration between their mobile internet site and their Facebook store, which is also mobile enabled. And they have integrated the whole customer experience, whether I'm in Facebook or whether I'm on the mobile site, then going to Facebook, or if I'm liking something. Everything that they do is all integrated in terms of people talking about the products, doing viral marketing and peer-to-peer word-of-mouth marketing.
Yeah.
They offer perfect product offer, and at the very end of it, I see a pair of shoes. I can spin them around. I can look at them. I go, you know what? That's the pair of Adidas, or that's the pair of pumps that I want, or that's the loafers I want. I can then, through 2 or 3 clicks, actually execute the purchase, and they arrive at my doorstep a day or so later.
Retail seems to be. I mean, it's obviously the perfect fit. I see a lot of university alum organizations, not-for-profit, non-profit organizations trying to get into the mobile space. I mean,
Sure.
how do these kind of companies start to get deeper engagement with their alum or their membership base to be able to drive communication?
Well, so the 2 easy steps, right? First of all, you want to have an opt-in messaging play, right? Either an opt-in SMS alert where I'm giving exclusive or, again, useful information to me as an alum that, you know what, it's great. I get an SMS once a week about the Cal Berkeley football game, where the alumni are meeting and what bar we're going to meet at, right?
Right.
I don't have to fish for that message through the 400 emails that I receive, right? Because I've opted in, so the only messages I get on my phone are opt-in messages. So every message I receive as an SMS or an MMS, I've opted in for. So it's the perfect junk preventer, right? There is no junk folder, right? So every message I get is a valuable message to me, right? So it's opt-in, so it's a perfect place to communicate to your captive or your interested audience, give them important, either entertaining or useful information. So that opt-in can happen as SMS or MMS if you wanted to. Number 2, you want to have a mobile environment where all of the information, whatever you're doing on your website, should minimum be replicated in the mobile space. And on top of that, all of the mobile-centric opportunities should also be explored. Something as simple, for example, dumb example, retailers doing mobile internet sites. How important is click-to-call?
Yeah.
Can I do click-to-call on a PC? Not easily, right? Maybe I open up Skype or do something like that, or I have to compose a number. How cool is it that I'm looking at, for example, let's say I'm looking at an automotive brand, for example, right? Here's a good example. We have a major automotive client where we built a mobile environment where before the person goes to the site, the first thing they hit is a landing page which asks them for their zip code. Reason being, right? I don't necessarily want to be at the brand
The
home
national
site,
brand,
right?
right?
Yeah, it has important information, but wouldn't it be more relevant to me to first of all get my zip code, find out where I am, and then give me a mobile environment for the local dealer, right? Which would have all of the brand information and all of the sexy brand stuff there, but also it's going to have the inventory of what cars are on the used car lot for that particular dealer, right? Because that's what I might be actually interested in looking for, and to be able to do all of those same functions of doing a search by model, by price, whatever of a used car, but to be product that is relevant to me location-wise, because I can't buy a car in St. Louis if I'm in San Francisco, right? Or I'm probably not going to be motivated to buy a used car in St. Louis. I'm probably more motivated to buy out of the inventory of what's in stock locally. So those are all good examples. Then how important is click to call? So I'm looking at a car. I want to ask the dealership about the availability of that car. There's a one-click button there which says click here to call, right?
Pretty powerful.
I can't do that. I can't do that with a laptop. I can't do that with a TV ad. I can't do that with a print ad. I can't do that with Auto Trader, or at least Auto Trader in paper. Right. So these kind of things, again, this is the frictionless customer experience where I'm getting to what I need when I want it at the right place and the right time.
It's just it seems like it's intuitive. It's put a child in front of an iPad and they can function. They can use that tool, right? I have 4.5-year-old boys, and from the time they were 3, just when the iPad came out, I could put it in front of them and they could use it. I used to be a BlackBerry user a while ago, maybe when they were a year or two old, and I'd put a BlackBerry in front of them and they could only push the pearl button and make the light go on and off, right? The way that it's intuitive for them to be able to use the device is the same way that we have to think about the mobile products that were coming out there, is that what is a logical next step?
Yeah, and part of the important thing for the brand, I mean, the race to mobile, right, is not the race ahead, it's the race to catch up. Right. Because brands and content publishers and any company that's doing commercial business are catching up to what the end users are already doing.
Right.
So the important thing is for brands to learn what people are doing with their phones and follow the crowd, right? Follow what they're doing. Don't impose on them, okay, this will be your mobile experience. Learn what they're doing with their phones and adapt your mobile experience to what they're doing with their phones.
So, I mean, what if let me ask you this very, very, very simply, Michael. Where do people start? Like, because this is always the question that I get is like, so Rob, mobile is this, and I'm of the firm belief that pretty much any company on the planet, I mean, if there's a rural farmer in Africa that can use a mobile device for his benefit,
they're doing it already. So, well, trust me, you go to any of the CTA or the Mobile Marketing Association case studies of what's going on in the third world and undeveloped countries. They're actually, mobile is more mission critical to them than it is in the first world. The reason being is I don't have a bank account in the middle of sub-Saharan Africa, right? But I can access digital transactions of money with a 10-year-old or 15-year-old Nokia phone that are being passed down from the first world into the third world.
It's insane.
If it has SMS, I can actually do banking. I can do all of my mobile banking via SMS, and they are doing it. And so you see these pictures of African sheep herders with a loincloth on, literally, with a loincloth on, with a leather strap around their neck, and guess what's at the end of that leather strap?
Nokia
it's a Nokia phone that has SMS enabled that's probably about 15 years old. They are doing it.
But you're looking at that and say, these guys are doing this, right?
That's smart mobile. They're not forcing something. What they're doing is they're fitting the technology to the need. And that's not the other way. And in the United States or North America, we are fitting the need to the technology.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
we are shoving apps and augmented reality and all of this technology at people and at brands. And it's actually, it's the wrong way around. It's you find the need and then you help the need with, and that's just good. Isn't that just good business practices, right? You write a business, you write a business plan, right? What's the first question? What need are you serving the market, right? So as a marketer in mobile, the first thing you ask is, what need is my mobile enablement serving my customer?
Right.
If it's not serving a need of any kind, then you're just doing mobile to do mobile.
And a lot of people did that, and now they're coming back around. And so the advice.
Wait a minute, I need to think. Okay, now I understand. I just created technology without an application.
Right. Right, and I wonder why nobody's using it, or I wonder why I have to force it on people for, as you said, like over
But
and
we
over and
see
over.
this, and having been in this space for a long, long time, how many countless companies have come out with some new cool technology? This small startup company says, I can do X with a mobile phone. Well, the first question is, why?
Yeah.
Why would I want to do that, right? So we see go by the wayside a lot of ideas, and it's a good thing. I mean, that's the process of innovation, right? Is that, oh, I can do X. Well, let me try doing that. And it's like, okay, we can do it, but there's actually
Value.
there's no value to it. Yeah, you can do it, but there's no value, right? So again, that's the real, to any brand or any content publisher or company looking to do mobile, the first thing that you'd be totally wary of is technology sales. If someone's selling you a technology, by and large, run in the other direction.
Yeah.
If someone is selling you a way to engage with their customers in a more efficient or cost-effective or more engaging way, you want to kiss that person.
Big hugs.
You want to take that meeting, yeah, because they're speaking the language. That's the language you want to be speaking is don't sell me technology, sell me success with my customers, and that's the bottom line.
I love that. And so let me just ask you this in a parting question here, Michael, is that to get engaged in the mobile space, do you wait for organizations to come to you, or are you being aggressive? Are you pushing the border, the walls down, knocking down doors to get to them?
Well, I mean, I can remember in the first days, Michael Becker and I, in forming iLoop Mobile, we were four guys with laptops on Townsend Street in San Francisco, and we had this sneaky suspicion that the mobile phone might be a useful device to actually market to people with, and people might find it valuable. So way back then, I remember the first days of knocking on the first doors going, gentlemen, this is a short code, and actually helping CEOs with their first text message, right?
Yeah.
So, this would be me actually physically sitting down next to them, taking the phone in their hand like children, right? And then taking their fingers and helping them push the buttons, right, to actually execute this. But once people see it, they go, wow, they get it. They get it quickly. But so way back in the day, we launched one of the first commercial alert services for the Olympics in Athens. And we were going around to all of the large newspaper publishers saying, hey, we can do a service for your newspaper that would be really, I think, effective for your readers, and that they can get the scores for the Olympics directly to their mobile phones. And it would be sponsored by your paper. And they go, wow, that's a great idea. So we were out doing that. So it's something that's really, it's in our DNA as a company. We are evangelists. We've always been evangelists, and we continue to be educators. So we do 2 webinars a month, iLoop Mobile, so a shameless plug. If anyone is interested in learning more about mobile marketing, we offer free education to help people learn the market. And we do this vertical specific, so we've done webinars specifically for the automotive industry, for retail, for content publishers, for a lot of different verticals, helping them understand what it means to them, because that's the other big challenge is, in reality, mobile is a layer that goes across everything. So in reality, if you're able to connect the dots, you can understand very quickly, okay, this tactic, I can understand how it works for automotive, how it would work for retail. It actually goes across all the verticals very easily with certain exceptions. Like, for example, healthcare, there would be, for example, security issues that would be specific
Privacy,
to healthcare.
security issues, yeah.
Right, but outside of some very specific industry vertical needs, everyone's doing the same thing. If I am a health clinic, I'm doing customer acquisition, right?
Yep.
And I'm also probably doing loyalty as well.
Absolutely.
And I'm doing brand awareness. If I'm an automotive brand, I'm doing customer acquisition, I'm doing incentive marketing, I'm doing all. So it really lays across, but it's much easier as you talk to people, obviously, to explain to them and show them the examples specifically of what it means to automotive, what it means to retail, what it means to a movie studio, what it means to whatever, right? But in reality, I mean, customer acquisition of product awareness for a film studio, for an SMS campaign, the tactics are almost identical to retail.
Right.
You offer the call to action in traditional marketing. You do, and especially important, we didn't talk about this yet, but CRM is a very important component to mobile. So when you do opt-in, you can do keyword and short code opt-in. You get very little information about your customers in doing that. It's a very easy to deploy tactic. But what you also want to add is the ability for people to opt into mobile campaigns via a web and mobile internet site or an application, because what you can gather is their profile information and their preferences at opt-in, and then you have the opportunity, very much like email marketing, you have the ability to do very, very surgical segmented messaging to very, very small subgroups of people. For example, I'm going to send a message to people who are size 7 shoe, right? I can actually do that in mobile. Or if in a better sort of more general, I could send it to only men, because I'm not going to send a skirt coupon to men, right? So those types of things. So I can get very, very focused, very, very specific, and very, very surgical with my messaging. And guess what happens when you do that? Your conversion rates and your redemption rates go through the ceiling, because the more that you know me as a customer, if you know that I'm Michael Ahearn, who's an absolute soccer nut, and oh, by the way, my favorite team happens to be Tottenham Hotspur, if you can offer me an offer on Tottenham Hotspur warm-up jackets, you're going to get my attention a lot better, and I'm more likely to convert that than if you sent me an Arsenal offer, right?
Just because you're a soccer fan.
Yeah, but you didn't know me, right? Yep. You didn't know that that's the dead, that's something that is very unappealing to me. So you've now lost me in your attempt to win me, right? So these are all this is what mobile can do. It's surgical marketing, right message to the right person at the right time. And Barack Obama did the same thing as a quote unquote marketer. He used SMS and he used mobile. iLoop Mobile actually powered the mobile internet site for the Barack Obama presidential campaign. But the idea was voters are like consumers. I need to send the right message to the right person in the right place, so that I'm not just sending these cover-all, one-size-fits-all communications to the people I really want to talk to. When you're in Des Moines, you're going to get the message about the Des Moines rally. That's going to be 3 weeks from now. Make sure you make it. And the people in Washington State are going to get, hey, Barack's going to be in Washington State in the next 4 days, and he'll be at the Seattle Center at 2 o'clock. That kind of messaging goes across all verticals, whether you're a political candidate, whether you're Nike shoes, whether you're Paramount Pictures. It doesn't matter who you are. This is a communication channel with tactics that have particular opportunities and properties for success that no other channel has, and that's what makes mobile really the future of not only marketing communications, but communications in general.
Well, it just it's such a, I don't even know where to go from there, Michael, because it's so true. And you start to think about people are worried about message overload, and if you do your job as a marketer, you aren't overloading, right? You are targeting.
Mobile marketing done right this is the only marketing channel where I'm actually looking forward to the next ad.
Absolutely, because and then when you start to think about the conversion rate, this is what I always say, is that mobile marketing, people are excited about a 2% conversion rate. I say, well, I mean, how can you get excited about a 2% conversion rate when you're talking and you're pushing message out to the most personal of devices that you could ever imagine? Shouldn't it be close to 100% conversion rate?
Well, these are now attainable numbers. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say, you do mobile marketing, we will promise you 100%. Yeah. So I'm not going to be that foolhardy or that nonsensical.
You just did, though. No.
But it has. But what I'm saying, it has happened, and the reason why it has happened, it was right message to the right person at the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
What I can guarantee you is that if you are a pizza brand, right, and you send me an SMS 20 minutes before the Sunday football game starts, and you give me a free media pizza for every large, I'm going to be really compelled to actually buy your product because you sent me the right message at the right time at the right place. Yeah. And I'm actually going to be really compelled to say, hey, that's great. Hey, guys, we just got a coupon for an extra medium. You guys want an extra medium? Yeah, I'm really hungry. Okay, let's order.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, you click your phone, click to call to make the order, right? So that it's people just sort of like, you shake your head like this going, it's there. So what the challenge is to take, number one, take it seriously as a mission critical channel for your brand or your content. Okay, it is mission critical. You can't delay anymore. You have to get out of your seat. You have to engage with this channel. You have to learn how to talk to your customers through the mobile channel. Because if you're not, you're leaving money on the table.
Right.
Pure and simple.
You know what? I can't agree more with you. I feel that we could probably have this conversation all day, Michael, because well,
let me give one last parting comment then, just to sort of wrap it up for you, to help give us sort of a key takeaway. The key to mobile is not to boil the ocean, right? So mobile is it's like web marketing, right? You come when the internet opened up, you said, "Oh my God, how am I going to this?" Like the possibilities are endless, right? How I can engage people through this new communications channel, and mobile is the same, if not more so, because Mobile is the internet on steroids. Or let's put it this way. Mobile, the internet is just a part of the components of the mobile play, right?
Yeah.
So internet is smaller than mobile, in fact.
Absolutely.
So don't try to boil the ocean. Don't try to solve mobile in 2 weeks, right? You're not going to do that. What you need to do is you need, again, start with knowing your customer, know what they do with their phones, set your marketing objectives, and then start with the first steps of engaging with your customers in some of the easier things like, for example, alert messaging or subscription messaging. So set up a system where you can talk to your customers once a week. How valuable would that be? Pretty simple. Pick the channel. You can do it via MMS. You can do it via SMS. You can do it through an app, whatever is the right play, right? But start that practice of talking to your customers once a week through the mobile device, or maybe more often, or maybe less often, whatever it might be. But set up that group, your tribe. Let's call it your tribe. Set up your tribe and be able to communicate to your tribe. Once you've set your tribe up, right, then learn more about your tribe. Find out who wants what, and do sort of segment your tribe so that you can send even more compelling messages to the subgroups within your tribe. So that's really the first place. So don't boil the ocean. Start communicating with your customers through the mobile channel. It could also be just one-off stuff too. If you find that you want to do, let's do a 3-week campaign of an incentive marketing campaign where we're going to put a call to action, and we're going to drive some traffic and try to get more customers in on a loss leader by offering 15% off a loss leader, and we'll make up money selling the, by making the basket bigger, or we know they'll buy something else once they're in. Just get them in the stores. Just drive the foot traffic. Get them in the stores, and we'll worry about what happens in the stores later. But that's a victory right there, right? If you can prove to me as a brand you've caused more people to come into my store, and it's at the right price, and the ROI makes sense, and it always does, by the way, then that's a victory right there, right? And those are great small victories to start with. Then the next big thing is you've got to communicate with your customers via the internet on their mobile device. So you got to have, everybody who has a browser access, they search every day. They are looking for your brand in Google using their mobile phones. If they Google your brand name, if they Google your company on their phones and they get a big blank, or they get an HTML PC site that looks like garbage, you've just lost. So you need that presence. When people are searching for you on their mobile devices, you have to be found. Now, it doesn't have to be, again, you don't have to create a Cadillac mobile internet site, right? But you have to create something that provides some sort of value that will answer some of their needs, and that can be done very, very, very inexpensively, and it's easy to execute. So that's the start, right?
I love it. I love it.
From there, the world, from there, sky's the limit. There are so many creative ideas and so many ways that you can engage your customers using the device. That's going to be a lifelong pursuit of using this channel, because this is not going away. And not only is it not going away, it's going to be the primary way people are going to be interacting with your brand in the very near future.
Oh, Michael, I love it. I love it. Love the enthusiasm. Obviously, very passionate about this space. How can people find out more about what you guys are doing?
So you can go to our mobile. Well, here's the great news. If you do your internet correctly, you just go to iloopmobile.com on any device, and it goes to the right environment. So you will find that if you go to iloopmobile.com on a PC, you're going to get our PC internet environment. And if you go to iloopmobile.com on a mobile device, you'll get a mobile optimized experience of our company on it. So you can investigate us there. We're also on Twitter. We're on Facebook. There's also, just as a help to the audience, there is something called the Mobile Marketing Resource Center, and this is a free, think of it as a library for mobile marketing. So anything you want to know about mobile marketing, you can go to the Mobile Marketing Resource Center. It's got a search engine in it, so if you want to know about couponing, it will give you all of the case studies and information and research and data and industry numbers around any subject around mobile marketing, and this is a free learning environment sponsored by iLoop Mobile. It's also an open environment, so this is not just iLoop Mobile sort of pushing propaganda down the pipe. It's an open environment where people from all over the industry, all over brand industries, all over anything can add content to that environment. So it's an open environment, so it's a fair arbiter of information about mobile marketing.
Well, and how can people get to that? Just from iLoop?
No, you can just Google the Mobile Marketing Resource Center.
Okay, do that.
Or you could go to mmresource.net. Will also take you to the
mmresource.net.
Yep.
And you, So hit the website iloopmobile.com on any device, and you'll get to where you need to go. There's also webinars. You said you do monthly webinars.
We do monthly webinars, so you can sign up those on our website. You can sign up for the webinars. We also do roundtables as well. So once a month, we started a roundtable. So instead of having me be a talking head against a slide deck, we bring industry leaders from different parts of brands and content publishers, and we sit around the table in a kind of a Charlie Rose type of environment, and we just basically ping ideas off of each other and explore subjects around mobile marketing, and often it gets contentious and it can get very interesting. So it's not not necessarily just a love fest. It's a great exchange of ideas, and I think you learn a lot. And we like it too because I don't have to just then talk against slides and be a talking head.
That's a great approach. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, listen, Michael, there's so much to digest. I really appreciate you coming on and doing this, spending this hour with us to go through this, because, I mean, it's been so valuable to me, and I know it's been so valuable to the folks that are still watching and listening. So I can't thank you enough, Michael, for coming on and sharing this with us. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
My pleasure, and last words is go mobile.
Go mobile. That's a lesson to you guys who are still watching or listening to this very, very informative episode of Untethered.tv. If you have any comments or suggestions, reach out, untethered@gmail.com. Hit up iloopmobile.com and take some of the the webinars if you're interested. Google mobile marketing. What was that? The mobile
marketing resource center.
And I can't even read my own writing. And again, reach out to me at untethered@gmail.com if you have any questions. I answer and respond to every single email or DM. And thank you guys for watching. Always appreciate it. And Michael, thank you so much for being a part of this. Really appreciate it.
My
See
pleasure.
you guys next time
Bye.
on Untethered.tv.